What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from the altar again, and this time we are here with Magnus Rosen. It is great to be able to talk with you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for have the opportunity to be on your program.
Oh, anytime, man. Anytime. The honor is all mine. It's so awesome to have you here. It's time to rock the world again. Super fun album to listen to. I can't wait for the rest of the world to hear it coming out April 21st. Was there sort of like a vision that you had in mind with the making of this album? Was there a specific goal that was set, or was this like a very experimental songwriting process and kind of like rolling the dice with everything?
Yes, thank you for the question. Um, my vision was to make a celebration to all important artists and bands that I loved and love through my music journey. I played instrument for 45 years, and my influences is of course from the 60s all the way to today. I really enjoy to have a um, wide open mind with the music. And this album is new songs, few songs is old, but we do it in our own way. And this is to celebrate what gave me a fantastic music journey through life.
Mhm. So is this almost kind of like a combination of like your previous solo works, like Imagine a Place, combined with some elements of Hammerfall, combined with some elements of Avalanche and the senior management and Shadow Side, etc.? Is it like a almost a retrospective of everything you've done throughout your career?
It's um, some flavor from it, but it's also from other famous bands that I listen to. And example, I have a guest from Black Sabbath, and when I was a kid, I have the Black Sabbath albums in my boys' room, if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
my kid rooms, and and um, and I know Tony Martin, and I also play with him in his band, so it was easy for me to ask him, please, will you join this album because it's have roots for me and my life, this kind of music. Um, Also, when I was younger, I of course, like the most Swedish people, they listen to ABBA, and it's great songs. And I know many rock bands did some covers from it. Um, so, so the album have flavor also from other bands and artists that uh, have been important for me. So it's like a celebration album, I can say. And it's not a project, it's a real band. And this is the first album, and we will go on with that, I must say.
I can't wait to hear more. And I think you're starting off. I mean, you're hitting the ground running because in addition to "It's Time to Rock the World Again," you're also releasing the instrumental album outside the rock box as well. So by having this sort of instrumental side and having "It's Time to Rock the World Again," is like the instrumental side going to be showing a different side of you personally and on an emotional level than the "It's Time to Rock the World Again." I've always said that when you release an instrumental album, the meaning or the context is very different from an album with vocals on it.
Yes, exactly. So this is, of course, a part of me. I did many instrumental albums because I think it's so fun. You know what I mean? And for me also, um, music is like a, can you say, smorgasbord? There you have like a Christmas table with all kind of flavors and food and everything. Music been have been just this kind of opportunities to take and mix different flavors or colors with each other. And the instrumental album is also a celebration. And if you ask me like a metal bass player, I should give you the answer. It's good to make your sword sharp, and you do it with knowledge. And knowledge is always great to have on your back. So, so many rock bands, like everybody knows, they take things from other music styles. For an example, the classical music or the folk music, and opera, Nightwish, for an example, and turn it into rock music. And I do the same, sometimes in an extreme way. And it's just because it's a pleasure for me to do that. So the mini album, it's little bit more for the listeners that like to deep in the playing, if you know what I mean.
Well, as a bass player, like I've always said that whether I'm listening to Hammerfall or like any of your solo work, like I could tell that it's coming from your own hand. And this is a question I like to ask all bass players because it's an important instrument as it has both an emphasis on rhythm and melody at the same time. So when it comes to laying down bass, is it better to have music already present so you kind of know what you're going to play and how you're going to play it? Or have you ever had a whole bass pattern written that the music would write according to?
Yes, it's an interesting question, I must say. Yes, in many of my solo albums, everything started different. It started with a bass. And when the bass is done, when I compose this bass, then I put the rest on it. When I play in other bands, for an example, Hammerfall or Avalanche or Shadowside, then I come already to this table that everything is ready, and then I like to find my own way through this.
Does the technique change though, depending on like who you're playing with? Because I know that you played with Tony Iommi at one point, but then also like playing with Hammerfall and playing with different musicians. They have different voices or different guitar styles. So does the technique maybe have to adjust as well?
Yes, it's also an interesting question because it's so different actually. So when I go on the rock stage, for an example, with Hammerfall, then I playing in a really different way from what I do if I go and play some instrumental classical parts on another concert. So the energy and the mood in the playing and the attack in the playing is so different. So when I play the straight metal, I am quite aggressive in the playing and it's so much energy in it. But when I play like more the classical thing or folk music, I need to be really careful with the playing, and it's so dynamic, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's really a big difference, I must say.
Yep. You can't hide behind the smoke screen, as I say, the mask of distortion in a way. Every note has to be played correctly.
Yeah. It's need to be clean, but it's also like need to have emotion. And after my 45 years of bass playing, I see the emotion in the playing is the magic. So it,
Oh, I was gonna ask you about the emotion actually, because emotion happens so spontaneously. It almost hits you when you least expect it. Is it fair to say that emotional inspiration strikes at the most inconvenient times sometimes?
yes. Um, um, Maybe like I said before, it's when you got this emotion, and if you're professional and if you really play from your heart, you try to find this emotion, every time. You really try to do that, because that is quality and that is magic. Because if I have emotion when I play, you will feel that. You will catch it somehow. Um, I think emotion is more important than you play brilliant.
Of course.
So, so the emotion touch people, and if you touch people, they react on that. But if you only play, like, you can say perfect but no emotion, then it's go through you and disappear.
Of course, but sometimes like I love having the conversation about emotion in music because sometimes emotions you have to handle them very perfectly because otherwise they could consume you in a way. So is there also like an art to mastering the emotion behind music so you don't almost kind of like fall into chaos or madness in a way?
Yes, yes, of course. You need to have balance. It's like yin and yang. It's like good and evil. You need really to have the balance to make it good as possible with the emotion.
And I see so many different like inspirations because when you play with so many different styles, it's like I see elements. I could see you play rock and roll and very heavy metal bass playing, but I also see you maybe like pay homage to classical bass players like Sting, for example, or something like that. Is it
And
fair to say that maybe you have many different inspirations behind your instrument as well?
yes, I have. For me, it's the playing is my life, and in my life, I don't only have red colors. I join all the colors, and I enjoy music, and in music have also different emotions. So I am so open. I think if I take an A note, like a heavy metal bass player, or if I take an A note like a folk music player, or in a classical music, it's still same note, of course. So so I I was not scared to open new doors. I thought and think this uh, will give my music life. Um, uh, it will make me grow like a musician.
Yeah.
If I figure out different things, I will be a better heavy metal player, or I will be a better folk music player, or a classical player if I know what's around me. But my platform, it's always rock music. I'm born with that.
Hence the title. It's time to rock the world again with this new solo album.
Yes, and this title means many things. It also means the rock music from the beginnings. It come from the blues, and the blues come from the slaves, and the rock music always been the first of all the workers' um, music, and in the 60s and 70s, rock was it make revolution, if you know what I mean. It always breed like stay free, be strong with yourself, do what you want in life, don't follow
Yeah.
anybody else, go your own way, and I will bring back this flag. um, Stay free, go your own way, believe yourself. That is rock music for me.
Definitely. And you have many different musicians on this album alone. I mean, you have Jonas Hansen on guitar for one song, and then you have Tony Martin on vocals for another song, and Zenny Graham on vocals for another song. You have a huge and very impressive roster of many different artists on here. So, does that also, did you almost kind of like a similar question as I asked before, but did almost every song on this album have its own approach because of the different musicians that were on it?
Yeah, you can say so. The most of the song have his own life if I can say like that. Um, this is an album that I think you can listen to many times without being tired, because it's so many souls in there, and it's so many flavors and so many different emotions. So people who want people who like to have an album with the same emotions, then this album is maybe wrong, but it's right for people who like to have an album that they can grow with.
Yeah.
It's not a boring album.
Yeah, I think it's one of those albums where with every passing listen, you're going to find something different on it.
Yes.
And here comes the most difficult question of the interview. How do you know when you're finished with a song?
Yes, that is also a good question, I must say. Yes, I think you start to record it. You have a vision, how it shall sound. And then under the recordings, you maybe add choirs and you turn around and mix a little bit with the solo parts and sometimes you maybe cut the song and move some parts to another place in the song. So it's a feeling. You feel when you think, now it's good, now it's ready. That's a feeling.
Yeah. Do you have like a usual place that you have to go to or like be in? Like we talked about the emotions that are channeled into your music, but do you have kind of like a usual place that you like to go to in order to cultivate ideas and think of new ideas? Or does inspiration just kind of strike out of the blue? It doesn't really matter where you are.
I think the place is important because we've been influenced about the surroundings, I can say. And I live in an old house. It's from the 1700s.
Wow.
And I live in like in the forest. And it's like sometimes I feel it's also some kind of ghost house. But it's lovely and it's peace there. And there it happens many things inside me. And for me, like we talked about before, music is emotion if it's good.
Definitely.
And I got that many times from my house in my forest. But it can happen everywhere, of course. But
how are you not writing a black metal album with a house like that in the forest and the ghosts? You should almost make something that sounds like Watain.
Yes, who knows if it will be songs in the future that I connect more with the house and the things that happens there. That is hard to explain.
Yeah. I just you were telling me about your house. I'm like, man, all the musicians who go to the forests and like, and this ghost house, like, I mean, that's as evil and as brutally heavy metal as it could be. Like, I think you would make a great death or black metal album in that house.
Thank you.
One day, never say never.
Yes.
So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time, for such an awesome conversation this morning. Is there just anything else with the release of It's Time to Rock the World Again that we could be expecting? Any live shows or any sort of celebration for the release of this album?
Yes. My wish is to come out and tour with my album. And this is what rock music is about. It's to have a mission and make people strong, because the people needs to be strong now when the world is upside down. So that is my mission. Stay free, be strong, and believe yourself. And that is what the music is about. And I will bring that on tour if I get luck, so we can get out there.
And with a message like that, I think it's needed more than ever now. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, anytime. Everybody, we are here with Magnus Rosen. It's time to rock the world again, out April 21st. Be sure to check that out, and be sure to check out the instrumental edition outside the rock box as well. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.